All roads lead to Mbale today as the 5 justices of the Constitutional Court deliver their long-awaited judgment of the presidential age limit petition at the High Court in Mbale today. Before we went on the break, Andrew Chamagero was sampling some of the views of the residents of Mbale district. And so here in studio, we have members of parliament who will help us understand to get a broader perspective of this particular ruling, what it means for Uganda. And so in studios, I have Honorable Jackson Kafuzi, who is the Member of Parliament, Kyaka South. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We also have Honorable Wilfred Niwagaba. Thank you so much for joining us. He is the Ndorwa East Member of Parliament. Thank you so much for joining us. Gentlemen, both of you are lawyers, but I'll start with Mr. Kafuzi, Honorable Kafuzi. A few months ago, last year, there was that particular, sitting in Makerere with a group of lawyers just on, having a discussion of this particular, ruling, this particular petition, this particular judgment. And so I remember it didn't sit well with the lawyers there, student lawyers there, and some of the we had to get security for you. Security had to be beefed up for you because apparently they wanted to come out for you. You still are very strong with that particular stand, supporting the amendment of the age limit bill. Is your stand still as strong as it was?
Yes. I know for a fact that it was well within our powers as Parliament to amend the Constitution as far as Article 102 is concerned, that of the age limit, and the upper and lower age limit. We had justification, right? Some of the justification is embedded from within the Constitution, like the democratic principles that require active participation of all Ugandans, and we felt that we were locking out some and leaving some, so we needed to open the door. That's why we opened the upper limit and brought down the lower limit to 18 years. We also wanted to do what they call best practices, comparative analysis with other countries, how it's done, how if they have the upper limit or the lower limit, how far does it go? I believe we were justified, and we needed to give the Ugandans choice, not to lock out the elderly, not to lock out the young, so that we create a level ground. Whoever wants, they can stand. When I was still at university, 98 to 2002, I remember Agri Awori was in the opposition, and at the time he used to come to university a lot, to law school in particular, and he was very inspiring to some of the students. And now I believe he's past probably 75, and we needed to give such people an opportunity to come to the table if they still feel they have the ability to do so.
Is your stand of being pro the amendment of this particular bill informed from a personal point of view, or have you gone down to listen to what Kyaka South residents are saying?
My stand is both. Okay. My stand is both. Even before I went to them, I had to understand the law first. I had to be convinced by the law. I had to see that there is a lacuna here that would need to cure. So that when I go to the people and I talk to them, they can either give me a go-ahead or say no. And I can assure you, my people gave me a go-ahead.
They did?
Yes, they
did. At what percentage?
If we were to go by percentage,
if
we were to go by percentage, my district would give me 85. Yes.
And you're certain about that?
I am certain about that.
Okay.
As far as age limit is concerned.
Mr. Honorable Wilfred, you are among the members of parliament that were thrown out last year when we were having this particular debate, and we had, security forces come into, the chambers of parliament. Your stand is so strong about being against this particular amendment. What informs that?
Well, what informs me is basically the constitutional history of this country. That Uganda as a country has never had any transition, peaceful transition of power from one president to another. And Article 102 in the Constitution was put in specifically because of that history. To appreciate that particular article, you need to look at the preamble of the Constitution. And the limits that were put in the Constitution, particularly on the office of the president, which wields a lot of power, were meant to have that peaceful transition for once from one president to another. But it's very unfortunate that particularly the current president has had to use all sorts of machinations, force and money, to ensure that all those limits on that particular office are removed. And it's a sad story that we go back to that history we've held, that yes, Uganda has never had for 52 years the president leave power peacefully through an election. So it goes back to that history, and it's sad that we, particularly members of the 10th Parliament, are part of vulgarizing our own history.
Allow me to interject a little. I do understand my senior colleague's point of view. But you see, the proviso or the need for peaceful transfer of power, does not mean that we lock out people from the electoral process. It is the electoral process that creates a peaceful transfer of power. We are simply saying people of these ages should be allowed to contest, then let the winner go through. So now, what we can do is to make sure that the electoral process is flawless.
So essentially what you're trying to push for, because the point of contention is you don't want the upper limit at 75 years, nor the lower limit at 35 years.
Yes.
So essentially, does it mean that even a 20-year-old, 18-year-old can run for office according to what you're pushing for?
Yes.
You see, if my young friend was sincere to himself and to the country, well, the question of age limit, he would even not have gone for the lower limit. He should have opened it up even to babies.
Yes.
As young as 7, as young as 7, as 8. No, it is all about serving the interests of one individual. And that's the dilemma this country has had. That the country has been pushed to believe in the presidency of one person called President Museveni. The country has been led to believe that without him, it can never stand on its own. My colleague is talking about elections, but we have all been in elections, and they are ongoing elections. The entire electoral process tilts in favor of the incumbent. Some of us who have stood not on the party ticket of NRM know the challenges we go through. It's literally not an election. It is basically a selection. So for you to even go through it, you will go through with lots of the level of intimidation, the money is involved, the security forces deployed and the like. How I wish we could have a flawless election. But with the current regime setup, forget about the flawless.
I know you want to respond about the age limits. You can go ahead.
Not really. But you see, my senior colleague has alluded to the fact that we could open up even 7-year-olds. When I was beginning to talk, I told you we needed to look at best practices world over. And in most cases, world over, in most countries, the minimum is 18 or 20. And that's what we had to look at. We did not have to open up.
Which countries did you
We did not have to open up.
Against?
Which countries did you benchmark?
We did not need to travel out of the country
no,
to do benchmarking.
I mean benchmarking in terms of studying. You do not need to travel. You can search on Google.
What is the age of consent?
Which countries did you
it's
benchmark?
It's 18 years,
now,
but we do not have a country that 18, we know for sure, supports that
if 18,
an 18-year-old
if 18 is your age of consent, it means you are able to make decisions. Now, when you enter the electoral process,
Actually, in America,
you have handed yourself over to the masses to be the ones to determine whether you are capable or not.
Let's look at the facts. 18-year-olds, as you were saying, fine. If today we have the ruling and it's pro, you know, the amendment of this particular bill, then what next? Because you have the MPs who are pro this amendment have not come out to say, now, okay, fine, we are scrapping off the lower limit of 35, then what next? What are you proposing moving forward? Because if we leave it open, we'll have a crisis, don't you think so?
No, actually, we opened up to 18. We opened up to 18.
What informs
You
that?
see,
Do you believe your
Article
son?
1 of the
I'm sure your
Constitution.
children are in that age group.
Article 1 of the
Would you
Constitution.
support your son to run for presidential office at 18 years old?
Why not? You see, Article 1 of the Constitution says power belongs to the people. Once he comes to the table and contests at 18 years, he has handed over himself to the masses. For them, they will exercise that power to gauge him, weigh him, and see if he's able or not. Even at 85, they will gauge that old man and determine whether he's able or not.
You are talking about an idealistic society.
Let's move on. Let's look at the Constitution and what it provides for. And I'll get your views on this. Do you think we are in a constitutional crisis? Because according to Article 262 of the Constitution, it actually allows and permits Parliament to amend the Constitution, putting specific articles to it. Now, with that caveat to it, we have Article 105 of the Constitution that establishes the terms of office for the President at 5 years. And according to what you lawyers say, that particular provision is an entrenched article in the Constitution, meaning it cannot be touched.
Yes.
Then why are we finding ourselves here? Do we say that the Constitution is somewhat, you know, not so clear about its provision? Is it contradicting itself? Your take,
No.
sir.
Okay.
You can say
You are
so.
beginning with me?
Yes.
Well,
Sorry.
you know, when you are reading the Constitution, you do not read one article in isolation of the others. You must look at the Constitution as a whole. That's why when our colleagues went out to amend the Constitution to increase their tenure from 5 to 7 years,
Yes.
forgetting the fact that there are provisions in the Constitution that make the term of the president run concurrently with the term of parliament and local government. I think it's Article 61 something.
Yes.
Around there. I don't have a constitution with me. And forgetting that Article 105 is an entrenched article of the Constitution, that for it to be amended, there must be
A referendum. Yes.
So how do you say you are amending part of the you're actually amending even the article amendment itself of the referendum? Because the term of president is not only under Article 105, it is also entrenched under Article 60, that the article that provides for concurrent running of the term of president and parliament. So everything, of course, was vulgarized. What they should have done is to first go to the people through a referendum and ask that can we extend the term of both the president and the parliament, and give reasons for the people to make their decision.
To make the decision.
But of course, because yes, they believe they have the money, they have the army, and they have the majority in parliament.
So in essence,
To
you're saying
them-
this is manipulative
to
for
them,
the citizens.
exactly. To them, the constitution is not about constitutionalism. It is about them as individuals. So the end justifies the means. What they wanted is this: we are going to rule you for 7 years. And for us to do it, we will first give ourselves the term. Then we will go to the population, intimidate them, beat them up, give them money. They will approve.
Your take, Honorable Kafuzi.
Madam, I did not get your name. I know for a fact that the article regarding to the tenure of parliament is not entrenched, while the article regarding to the tenure of the president is entrenched.
Yes.
And if it is entrenched, it means it can only be amended by referendum.
Right.
So what the members of parliament did was to amend their own tenure on the understanding that they would then go for a referendum in order to harmonize the positions.
Just maybe to interject a bit, if you read Article 61 sub Article 2 of the Constitution,
read.
It says the electoral commission shall hold presidential, general, parliamentary and local government councils within the first 30 days of the last 90 days for expression of the term of the president.
Yes.
So the elections of parliament and local government are tied to the term of the president.
Right.
So when you read Article 61 sub Article 2, read it jointly with, you must read it jointly with Article 105 of the Constitution, which makes the term of the president
5 years.
5 years. It is Article 105 sub Article 1. You must also now read Article 262 jointly with these terms.
Entrenchment.
Which exactly. So, and it says for Article 105, it is Article 260. The bill for an act seeking to amend any of the provisions of the clause 2 of this article shall not be taken as passed unless the provisions referred to in article of this are 1051. And 105 says it is supported at the second and third reading and has been referred to a decision of the people and approved by them.
Yes.
Yes.
I do understand. I do understand what my colleague is saying.
Considered opinion. You cannot say that the term of parliament is not entrenched,
right?
Because it is tied to the term of
no. My senior colleague, we have the article here, Article 260, which outlines the articles of the Constitution which are entrenched, and the term of parliament is not among them. If it is not among them, it means it is amendable by Parliament under Article 262.
Where do you get the term of Parliament mentioned in the Constitution first?
See, once the law is silent...
No, it's not silent.
The law is not silent.
Now, it is good. It is good. What is clearly stipulated...
It's clearly stipulated, and this is an entrenched article in the Constitution.
The term of Parliament is entrenched?
The term of President is 5 years.
Yes,
and
that one I agree.
if anything is supposed to change in terms of extending that, then the citizens of that particular country have to go to a referendum.
We have not amended the term of the President. We have amended the term of Parliament, which is not entrenched, and Parliament working under Article 262
do you think we are in a constitutional crisis, having members of Parliament choosing to, interpret the law in their own way?
No, I think what you are, the mistake you are making, hold on a little. I think the mistake you are making is for you to think we should amend the presidential term first before amending the parliamentary term.
Of course, that should...
But you see, the law, the Constitution does not say when you are amending, go by A, B, C, D.
Let's now be factual. Let's now be factual. Do you think that the Constitution itself is, failing us in this regard? Having lawyers, you're all lawyers, but with different interpretations of a Constitution that is clearly stipulating how things have to be run.
Assuming you went now to the referendum to amend the term of the president and the people said no, what would happen?
What next?
Isn't that an obvious constitutional
crisis? That would be the decision of the people.
So what would happen? Would you now have Parliament running
for 7 years
and the President for 5 years?
That is if the court upholds the 7 years.
Now to Article 61, I have read it to sub Article 2.
Gentlemen clearly will never agree on this. And there's actually a proposal by the Uganda Law Society for a total, kind of review of the whole Constitution, because apparently it's coming out that the Constitution has loopholes that needs to be tightened. Loopholes that need to be fixed.
Is that the Constitution has been amended in piecemeal to favor the interests of specific individuals. One, the individuals, particularly the individual of President Museveni as the incumbent president, who wants to be a life president, yes. And now the MPs have also gone ahead to say, oh, since you, man, every time you come, you want us to amend for you to remain a president for life, let us also now increase to 7. Tomorrow, if it is approved, should the court, for example, rule in their favor, there is no reason why they will not sit again and say, but 7 years,
10 years.
Give us 10 years.
Honorable Kakuzi, you can come in your defense in this, so that takes place.
Okay, my major concern in this is that it's not about the 7 years. It's about the question you brought. You asked that we should have amended the presidential term before amending parliamentary term.
Not even that, because
That is not-
will
It would
never.
even be obvious.
Yes.
That
It
is
would-
not
it
a
would be
prerequisite.
obvious.
Exactly the
Listen,
point.
that is not a prerequisite of the constitution.
I disagree with you on that.
It is
Interpre-
not. It
on
is
that
not stated.
interpretation.
You see, that's why we have the constitutional court. That's why we are before the
Do you
court.
feel like the
to guide.
constitution has to be reformed holistically?
Yes, I do agree that we need a constitutional review commission. That there are things that need to be streamlined within the constitution.
So you also agree with me that piecemeal amendment of the constitution is dangerous and bad.
It is.
I don't want to say it is dangerous and bad, because you may amend piecemeal depending on the urgency. But that's why over time and again, the Supreme Court has always required the government to constitute a review commission
Let's.
in order to implement certain observations made by the
We have seen
Supreme
some
Court.
key, reshuffles in the NRM caucus with regards to the age limit. Putting down some MPs who are against this and, uplifting MPs who are pro this. Is that rightful, coming from that side of the divide?
I know that committee leadership is constituted or designated by the chief whip for the NRM, for the ruling party. For the independents, it's by the speaker, and probably is it LOP by the opposition. And they do this, I believe for administrative purposes. They consider abilities. I'll tell you, for example, I've been in parliament.
Why did this particular happening take place
Yeah,
now?
yes.
If it
Let
was
me
a
finish.
matter
Let
of
me finish. Let me
capacity,
finish.
Wouldn't have taken.
Let me
wouldn't have
finish.
taken place earlier on.
We've been in parliament for 2 years and something. They have been able to gauge people's abilities. I've been in parliament for the first term. You can not make me head. I believe I'm not ready to head the legal committee, though it is the committee to which I applied. I would be uncomfortable with you making me head a health committee, you understand, because I'm not a doctor. I would not be conversant with that. So it is basically administrative.
I can be
Do you
open
believe
to
it
you.
is administrative or discriminative?
I was in NRM before I was expelled.
Yes.
The principle, and that's one of the reasons when we were inducting the new MPs, they said, please don't surrender your powers to the appointing authority so much. If members of parliament on committees ordinarily should be electing their own leadership.
Right.
But NRM uses the designation tag to reward loyalty. That's why those who voted against the age limit bill and were heading or deputizing committees have been entirely removed because they are not loyal to the
Yes.
appointing authority.
Yes.
Actually, the president is so powerful that he literally now appoints the chairpersons of committees, the vice chairpersons of committees. He, of course, he appoints commissioners of parliament from NRM. Everything has been left out of the realm of election, but to designation. So,
But I don't
so my
understand
friend
when you
who
call
is-
it rewarding.
Who is very loyal, definitely should be expecting an appointment either as a minister or a minister of
Will
state.
we see that soon?
I don't
They
understand.
want to be allowed to remain on the back bench.
I don't understand why you call it rewarding, because what you do as a committee chairperson is basically administrative for that committee. Chairing committees, research, this and that. I do not see any form of rewarding in that. We sit on the same committee with
Is it a coincidence that all of them who are against it have actually been, so to speak, demoted? Is it a coincidence? And those who are pro it have been rewarded with this particular posts. What do you have to say
I
about
don't know.
that?
I don't know what to say to that, because I believe the party has been able to weigh and gauge people's abilities in the past 2 years. And so these resignations could be informed by some of that. Yes.
All right, okay. Gentlemen, as we come to a close, just tell us, what do we expect in today's ruling in terms of the effects that it will have on Ugandans, on the citizens of Uganda, and also on our role as Ugandans to play a big role in, making decisions when it comes to such pertinent issues? We can start with you, sir. Mr. Kafuzi.
Today's ruling, one, I seconded the age limit.
Right.
And I pray and hope to God that court agrees with us and confirms the age limit amendment. But you see, when we say we are a democracy, it means we abide by the law. We accept, subject ourselves to the law, and we accept the outcome or the decisions of the Constitutional Court. I am not speaking for the Attorney General's office. I cannot say that I would appeal or not.
Yes.
Personally, I would concur with whatever decision.
You would concur
Yes.
with whatever decision is made
Yes.
by the 5
Yes.
justices?
Both as a lawyer and as a member of parliament.
Okay.
If they say we remain with 5 years, I know that 2021 we go back to the field.
Okay.
Because that was even the original intention.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Honorable Wilfred?
Now I can tell you, as the Shadow Attorney General of the leadership in the Parliament, one of the things that formed our decision to challenge the entire act and its enactment was to put the judiciary on a test. If the current leadership of the Constitutional Court was under Justice Kavuma, we would have known the results by the time we filed the petition.
Yes.
So
That's so unfair.
we did file this, we did move to file this to also put the current leadership of Deputy Chief Justice Owini Ndorwa on the test to see whether we still have a Kavumaism in the Constitutional Court or not. That's one. Two, you've heard Ugandans speaking before we...
But
Yes.
I'm sorry to interject.
Let him finish.
Senior counsel is an advocate.
Kindly allow him to finish.
So
Okay.
you've heard Ugandans speaking.
Yes.
People majority of Ugandans seem to have lost hope in the judiciary. So it is a challenge to the current leadership of the judiciary to bring back the hope that yes, we have a judiciary that is independent, that is going to make its decisions based on the facts and the law as it is, not based on what people perceive to be directives of the president,
All right.
which not only impact on parliament, because we know what happens anyway, especially when the caucus is there,
Yes.
but also I know as a fact that at times some of our judicial officers receive telephone calls from the powers that be.
So you're doubting what exactly will happen today.
Well,
and like you're saying, they are
we
at
said
the...
they
yes.
are now on a test.
Yes.
So it is up to them
To
to
prove
prove their integrity or not.
And gain the
And
confidence
for us,
of
yes,
citizens.
yes, for us as Ugandans, especially those of us who have been in the fight for good governance and rule of law, we'll take it up from there.
Okay.
But,
All right.
but on a personal note,
Time is not on our side, so maybe 1 second on
yeah,
that.
on a personal note, Honorable Gaba is a senior advocate who has appeared in the Constitutional Court several times. Is he in essence saying all along he's been appearing before a panel in which he
I
has
have
no
talked
face?
about Kavuma in particular, and I know my reasons why. I said that's why we want to give the current leadership the benefit of doubt.
All right,
But
okay.
if it was a panel headed by Justice Kavuma, you would know the day you are filing the results.
I'm happy you're actually shaking hands. That sends a big message that, you know what, it's about the constitutional, front, and it's about the judges now to make that ruling. And I'm happy that you said that in case your side loses on this, you will accept it in goodwill. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the show. That is the big discussion today. History will be made today as we expect the 5 justices to come out with this particular ruling, the age limit ruling. My name is Malaki Vilaudera. We'll keep you in touch with that. Flavia Tumusime will be coming on Take Note with a lawyer just to give us what exactly this means from a law perspective. Stay tuned.